Okay, so today was day 15 of Unit 4, and we started today with a warm-up. Our warm-up today was really just finishing up some of the example problems that we didn't quite finish yesterday in class. So take a moment, pause the video so that you can complete the warm-up, and then play to watch to check your answers. So part F of example problem number 1 from the packet from yesterday. We had talked about the first step would be to substitute 230 in for y, because 230 is the height of the wall. So that means it's y or h. So 230 is equal to our equation that we had already come up with. So I'm just copying that equation and setting it equal to 230. So then I'm going to subtract 250, which gives me negative 20. And then I'm going to divide by negative 1/800th, or in other words, multiply both sides by negative 800, which gives me positive 16,000. Now I have it in the form that I can solve by square roots technique. So square root of both sides, the square root of 16,000 is, I'm going to approximate this, so 126.49 approximately, and that's equal to the absolute value of x minus 200. So in order to get rid of the absolute value, I'm going to make my solutions plus or minus, and then I will add 200 to both sides. So 200 plus or minus 126.49 will give me the approximate solutions for x. And when I add 200 to 126.49 and subtract 126.49 from 200, I get 326.49 and 73.51. which are my approximate x values. So the question was, what is the farthest distance the catapult can be set up from a 230-foot wall and clear it? So the farthest from the wall is going to be the number that's further away, the number that's larger. So 326.49 is further away from the wall than 73.51 is. So the answer is approximately 326.49 feet is the farthest distance the catapult can be set up from a 230-foot wall. So that takes care of number 1. Number 2 was talking about the brick oven problem, example number 2, and it was part B. So we already, when we yesterday talked about this, we said that we need to complete the square here because we need to get the equation in vertex form so that we can figure out the price the bakery should charge to maximize profit. So I'm going to start with my equation that I had in the beginning. So I had negative 100x squared plus 350x minus 25/4. So that was our standard form equation. So next I'm going to complete the square. So I have to factor out negative 100. So I'll keep that negative 25/4 on the end. When I factor out negative 100 from 350, I'm getting negative 3.5. I'm going to write that as a fraction though, so it's easier to complete the square. So negative 7/2 x is the same thing as negative 3.5x. So now I'm going to take negative 7/2 and multiply by 1/2 because that's dividing by 2, and that's negative 7/4. And I'm taking negative 7/4 and squaring that to get 49/16. And 49/16 is what I'm adding to complete the square. But remember, we have that negative 100 in the front, which means that 49/16 is actually being multiplied by negative 100. So I'm going to simplify that on the diagonals before I multiply. 16 and 100 have 4 in common, so factor out a 4 and factor out a 4. And now I just have to use the calculator to help me here. 49 times negative 25 and 4 times 1. So 49 times negative 25 is negative 1225. So negative 1225 fourths is the number that was randomly added on to the right-hand side of the equation. So to balance the equation, we have to add a positive 1225 fourths. So now I have h is equal to negative 100 is in the front. I have x quantity squared. So I'm going to go back, remember what I had before I squared, which was negative 7 fourths. And then I'm combining 1225 fourths with negative 25 fourths. That's easy. We can do that without a calculator. 1225 minus 25 is 1200. 1200 fourths means 1200 divided by 4, and 1200 divided by 4 is 300. So now we have our equation in vertex form, which we can see our vertex is 7 fourths, comma 300. Okay, and we know that that's going to help us figure out our answer. Remember, the question again was, what price should the bakery charge to maximize its profit? Well, X represents the price of a loaf of bread. So I want to use my X value here from the vertex, because that value, that price, will give us a maximum profit. So 7 fourths as a decimal is $1.75. So they should charge $1.75 in order to maximize their profit. Now, I didn't really assign part C, but we know that part C is asking what is the maximum profit. Well, that's just the Y part of the vertex. So the answer to part C is $300 is the maximum profit. Okay, so we started class with those two warm-ups, and then the rest of the class, rest of the time, I gave students to work on practice problems 3 and 4, again, in that same packet from yesterday. And that took most of the period really to do problems 3 and 4. And then your homework is to finish up problems 3 and 4 if you didn't in class, and worksheet number 2 in unit 4, problems 5, 6, and 7. So you should do those for tomorrow, and doing those should be a good preparation for your team test, which is tomorrow. Remember, next week then you have an individual test on Monday and Tuesday.